Okay, well, guys, I'm really excited about tonight. It's going to be a great webinar. And before, probably some of you saw this, thought I have it on my Facebook. This is a great tool. If we play the victim role or the hero role with our life, what do you think life is going to direct us to? Choose your role, actor your role, and the universe will direct you to your dreams or nightmares. Um, and the reason I saw this one is because I see people, and this was this past weekend, people that they always are playing victim, and they always complain that everything bad is happening to them, and the reason is because they are playing a role. And this their role apply in many ways. We play, we may say, yeah, I don't play victim. Well, when we say that we cannot find the business builders, we're playing victim. When we think or say something like, oh gosh, this is too hard, we are playing victim. And that's what we are going to get, more things that make us reprise that role of the victim. It's why it's so important. And tonight we are going to talk about why many times we do this, some solutions for us to create our own script. Now, let me see. Why you act and react certain ways, how our brain works, how you can overcome fear, procrastination, and limiting beliefs, how success is doing just these things in a certain way. By the end of this series of trainings, you will have enough ammunition to write your own scripts, and this is really powerful. Now, the brain, and we are going to be talking about the brain because everything resides there. We talk always about the conscious and the subconscious, and that's the psychological part, but today we are going to be talking about the physical part. Now, the brain is a very complicated organ that basically runs our body. Although complicated, my task tonight is to explain in terms that will make you understand how it works when referring to who you are, your goals, and your actions. At the end of this presentation, I will direct you to a couple of resources if you want to learn more. Yet rest assured that after this video and the other videos that we're going to have, and I call it video because this is going to be recorded, you will know more about your brain and you and how you can program yourself for success. Now, there are many questions that we have to ourselves. Why do I procrastinate? Why am I so fearful? Why do I self-sabotage? Why do I have a negative attitude? Why do I lack focus? Why do I seem to never succeed? Why do I limit my dreams? Why do I have problems believing? Now, many of these questions come from a question that I ask in the BDP site when I ask, what was the biggest obstacle that people have in the business? And I was surprised that with a section of one person, maybe two, most of the answers had to do with attitude, personal belief, fear. They didn't have to do anything with the how to. And the reason is because the how to is out there, but why we are not applying it. Now, why we are like that? That's the question. Now, why do we have so many excuses or challenges? Why? What happened? What is going on? Now, many people think, oh, is that a curse? Somebody has like a little dog that's putting his little I don't know, nails or something like that through the door? Or who is at fault? It could be our boss, there's a clown, or a friend, or a relative, or uncle, or our teachers, or even the politicians, or even our ancestors. Who is at fault? Well, guys, really they are not at fault. What they are doing is just feeding the real guilty party. I'm going to show you what is the real guilty party. It's the crocodile. Now you say, well, hold on a second. What the crocodile has to do with this? This is a poor animal living probably in the swamps or in the jungles. What do you mean? We are going to talk about that because we are going to talk about some scientific discoveries from the last 10 years where they show why we act in certain ways, why it's so important to be aware of that. I have one of my passions is to read books about personal development and psychology. And in the last few years, in the last 3 years, I read a lot about this topic. And it's really amazing how our brain works. Now, on the following slides, I will be talking about the brain. Now, all these is based on discoveries made by several neuroscientists around the world. I will not be going in depth, only how it relates to our fears, to our limitations, and attitude, and in general, what has to do with our business. Now, I don't say that I am an expert. At the end of the presentation, I'll be referring you to some resources if you want to go deeper into this topic. But it's really cool, the information. You don't have to know all this. What I'm going to tell you today, basically, or tonight, that's the most that you have to know about this. Now, let me explain. For those of you that are not on the webinar, but you are on the telephone, you can see a brain. Now, the brain, according to neuroscientists, is made of really three different brains set on top of each other like three scoops of ice cream. According to certain scientists, this is the way that our brain has evolved. And let me show you. Now, one part, the lower part of the brain, is called the brain stem, also called the croc or lizard brain, or the crocodile brain. That's why I had the crocodile before. Now, this is the most primitive form of brain. The second one is what is called the limbic brain, and it's spelled Limbic for those of you that are on the telephone. Also, it's called by some scientists the mouse brain. And the third one, that is the one on top, and is the newer brain, is called the neocortex, also called the human brain, because this is particular only to humans. And we are going to see the relationship to the way that we react to everything, of why these brains is so important to understand. Because some people think that they are cursed, like I showed before, but in reality, there is a reason we act the way that we act. But again, let me repeat, and I'm going to call in the simple terms. Crocodile brain is the primitive, the mouse brain is the second one, and it's typical in mammals, animals, and the human brain that's on top, all of them, and it's all unique to humans. We have the three of them, but it's unique to humans, this one. Now, the croc brain. Now, we share this brain with lizards, crocodiles, maybe dinosaurs too. It evolved before even humans existed. It is why it's referred to as the croc brain. Its function is of survival. Remember a crocodile? Survival. A lot of our fears are based here. We escape or avoid the unknown. This brain is telling us not to trust anything. It is really a reacting brain. It decides if we fight or flee without thinking much. Many people are prisoners of this primitive brain. And this is really interesting. Again, let me repeat one part. This is the one that decides if we fight or flee. This is a reacting brain. It doesn't do much thinking. Sometimes when we react of fear and we run away, or even we get paralyzed, it has to do with this brain. And many people get paralyzed in their careers or in the things that they are doing, or even when they are talking to a prospect, because they get paralyzed. That's the way that this brain reacts. Now, let's see. We have some examples. For example, if a person has a bad marriage, we become scared of committing. We have a bad experience in business, we tend to avoid that business. That's our croc brain. We were yelled at when we were speaking one time when we were kids. Now we are afraid of public speaking. We did not do good at math when we were in high school or even in elementary school, and now we are afraid of numbers. And it's why some people, when you explain sometimes, and sometimes happen to many of you, somebody is explaining the first time the pay plan, even that is so simple, we don't see it because there is some kind of block that is because we didn't do good at math, or we are afraid of that we are going to make a mistake or something like that. We think that in the subconscious that we are really, this is really complex, and it's why we don't see it. Fear, by the way, as Brandon Bouchard, one of my heroes, said, fear paralyzes knowledge, because you can have in front of you the answer to everything, and you may not see it if you are paralyzed by fear. By the way, when I say paralyzed by fear, it is not what most people think, that you are paralyzed. No. Sometimes when people are stressed out, fear of other things, they may not feel it. Many times people don't even know that they are living in a state of fear because so used to, but they don't see the opportunities. Now, when we fail in something, we believe deep down that we can't succeed. I mean, all these things are making the crocodile brain to try to protect us. And when I mean how? Well, escaping for those bad experiences. It's like if somebody put a gun in front of us, we don't want to be in front of that gun anymore. But that's the way that this brain interprets all these situations. Now, all these interesting are just perceptions. Yes, because the survival aspect of this brain, we take it like something real by repeating ourselves that marriage is not good, or network marketing is not good, or I am bad with numbers, or I cannot succeed, etc. We are reaffirm this perception, making even a deep engrave in our mind, making us worse with time. And it's why sometimes it's said, although it's not true, that an old dog doesn't learn new tricks. And the reason is because it's harder, because we are engraving this so hard into our brain. The more we talk about that, how bad we are in math, the worse we are going to become. Now, the cool thing that there is a solution, and it is a marvelous mechanism present on everyone. More about that later. Now, one more thing, and this is the positive side of the crocodile brain. You don't want to say, oh, I'm going to go to a surgeon and take that brain. No, you can't, because you need it. The positive side of this brain is that keep us alive in case of danger. We need it. Without it, we will be really careless, jeopardizing our life or our business and our survival. We need it, but we have to keep it under control. If we keep it under control of the crocodile, we're in trouble. But it's why we need it, because it's like a defense mechanism that we have. Now, the next one is the mouse brain. Now, the mouse brain is built on top of this crocodile brain. This brain evolved with the first mammals. It is the social brain. It is the curious, likes to interact with others. This part of our brain is the one that helps us to explore and create relationships. Even some of the emotions reside here. Like now, they like to use experience to anticipate danger, instead just reacting like the crocodile brain will do. As you see, the crocodile, they see something that seems dangerous, and they're going to run without thinking. And here, there is some experience that they teach if they have to run or attack or do something else. This is the difference between the mouse brain and crocodile brain, or one of the big difference. Now, okay, let's go. The problem is that sometimes it generalizes experience, assuming things that are not real. Also, because the social nature of this brain, many times people prefer to do whatever everybody is doing, limiting their potential to grow. In other words, it's what we call peer pressure, critics, etc. Now, this may be useful for some animals, but in most cases, it's not useful for humans. Now, it can create the wrong perception, fitting that perception into the croc brain, and you see what happens. The croc brain is going to make us escape from situations that we're supposed to be in, or like opportunities, etc. Now, a little more about the mouse brains. Some examples. If, for example, if the newspaper say it or write it, it may be true. Or if everybody's not doing it, may not be good. And the reason is, for example, some people say, no, everybody's doing ICS, it's probably not, it's not as good. Or my uncle say, that is an illegal pyramid. If he's saying, probably it's true. Or the famous that you probably heard many times, go to school, get a good job, and you will be okay. Or you need money to make money, because everybody's saying that. That is and then you assume that that's the experience as a reality. Or, for example, the economy is bad. Nobody can buy anything. Eventually, following those beliefs, you create and find experience to confirm many of these things. Interesting. See this. Eventually, you create and find experience to confirm many of these things. Now, this is more food for the crocodile. You don't want to keep feeding that crocodile. It's not good. And by the way, when people are criticizing you, etc., if you take it for real, again, you're feeding the crocodile. Now, the positive part of this brain, and again, this is always positive stuff, is that if we have the right perceptions, and some of our peers too, we can create incredible collaboration with other people. We can create incredible teams. We can create prosperity, empires, helping millions in the process, and of course, becoming successful in anything that you want. Literally, we can change societies for the best. And this is the positive side when everything has the right perceptions. And we go to the next one, the human brain. This brain is what makes us human. It's why they call it the human brain. Excuse me. It's called the neocortex too. But anyway, it's where all higher faculties are originated, like thinking, imagination. It is where logic reside. Even some of our higher emotions are channeled through her, like love, for example. Now, this this brain is marvelous, but this is interesting. If we follow the experience of our minds and core brain, it can make those experiences more engraved. For example, imagination that is there. If we imagine the worst, for example, something that happened at the crocodile brain, the fear, and if we imagine the worst, that is a faculty of the human brain, we can even see things that are not there. We can think even logical to rationalize anything, even if it is wrong. And you probably know people, and even if I've been in that place, and I'm sure you have been in that place, that sometimes you know that you have to make a decision to make some changes, but then you start making logic of why you don't have to do it. And you know the sad part is that that we usually find an argument that support what we are saying, even though if the decision that we are making is going to keep us away of reaching certain goals or going up in different activities or going to the next level, etc. It is interesting that we can manipulate ourselves to failure and suffering. Doesn't have to do anything with intelligence. This is just perception. The people can be really intelligent, yes, if they are still looking at things the way that their experience dictate, and the experience are most of the time a perception, then we can stay limited, and most of the time we don't even know it. That's the sad part. For example, you're told MLM is a scam. Then you look for facts that confirm, and you find them. Or my belief is right. You find facts that confirm that, and then you are ready to board the next flight saucer out of this planet. I hope you got that. You are thinking, hey, my belief is right. You find all the facts, and you're ready to board the next flight saucer out of this planet. Or somebody say, I am a failure, and you find the experience and facts that confirm that. And the reason is because whatever you are looking for, you're going to find it, even if it's negative or positive. We are creating stories, finding even proof, and this is because the power of the imagination. We even can find proof of what others think or interpreting something like data, survey, books. For example, somebody's interpreting. Gosh, I can't even say it. Something. we believe it, even if it is not the truth. It is why there are so many schools of thought in so many areas. All of them claim that they are the real truth, when in reality, most of them are just perception. And again, if you talk to any of them, even if they are in a perception that's totally wrong, like a terrorist or something like that, they're going to try to show you proof that they are right. Now, we even find people sometimes in our own family to confirm what we think about ourselves, like our inability to be successful. Like we cannot be good in MLM, like we don't dress well, or our beliefs about politics or religion or taxes. I mean, creating a truth that it is only a perception, many times leading us to live a life that is not really ours, but somebody else believes intent inside us, and we keep feeding the crock. That's the sad part. Now, I know I spend a lot of time in this human brain negative, but the cool thing is that this brain is when we focus on the right things and in the possibilities, we can create beauty and prosperity. A brain that is not limited by the crocodile of the mind, just is working as a partner, does not have limits, having the ability to work with the divine. I mean, this is so powerful, guys. By the way, this presentation is going to be recorded, or is being recorded, and also I'm going to be uploading this to the How to Get Going, and that way you can see what we are talking about. But anyway, they work together, yet each brain is important, as I show, and we need their full function. But there is one more. It is the secret to reach our goals. Now, again, we have the crocodile brain, the mouse brain, and the neocortex, or the human brain. But there's one more thing, and this is not a brain. This is a connection. This is something really powerful that many of you probably have heard many personal development people talking about that, but many of them don't know that there really is a place in the brain, in our brains. This is actually in the center of the brain and connect with the human brain, and it's what is called the reticular activation system, or RAS, RAS. is the one that brings working focus, excuse me, by working as a filter to the different brains. This is one of the secrets to keep a balance our brains, and it's really amazing. It's really amazing. It's again the reticular activation system, and you probably have seen it. And this, when we understand this, then we know that we can be successful. Now, this is connected and again sends the signals to all our brains. Now, each minute we are bombarded by millions of data, yet we are not aware of most of them. The reason is because the RAS, or again RAS, or the reticular activation system, filters most of those stimulus, and we're only aware of just a few. It is interesting that a malfunction of the RAS is the reason of some mental illnesses. Also, there is a study I just found about a couple of days on the internet where it says that a very stimulated RAS seems to be the reason for attention deficit disorder and other similar problems. It's really interesting. But working right is filtered. Imagine if we are in a room and we have to be aware of everything. We hear the air condition, the mosquitoes, the air, your heart pumping blood, and your lungs, and everything. You would go crazy. It's why it's so important to have this system, the reticular activation system. But it's also a system that you can use for success. Now, a good example of how these filters, for example, let's suppose that you or your half becomes pregnant. Suddenly, it seems that there are more pregnancy around there than ever. It seems that you see pregnant women everywhere. Your RAS is making you aware of that. For example, you buy a new red Cadillac STS, it seems that you see more than ever, thinking when you bought it, that was the only one. That happened the same when I got my Mercedes GL 550. They don't build too many of them, and I got a black one that supposedly is rare, GL 550. And then what happened after I bought it, it's interesting, I started seeing GL 550 almost every place, even that supposedly is a rare Mercedes-Benz. Now, the reticular activation system can work against us. And again, I go into the positive and the negative because it's important to know why you react in certain ways. Bill Mayer, who is a friend of mine, and some of you know him, he's the author of the book, The Magic of Asking the Right Questions. He said in his book, where your focus goes, your energy flows. What that means is if you see only bills, guess what? Your RAS, reticular activation system, will focus more on that, finding more evidence. In other words, you get more bills. You feel that the future is dark, the RAS, again, will give you more evidence of that. Guess what? You are feeding the crock. If you think that it's hard to make money in network marketing, for example, in isogenics, you will find the evidence. The people that failed, the people that hated, etc., this business, they're just confirming because what? When they focus on hating something, they're going to find more reasons to hate it. It's funny because that's the way that the RAS works. The opposite, by the way, is also true. Now, for example, good examples also is, for example, if you're afraid of rejection, you will direct to even more rejection. It's interesting. If you think that you don't have time, by the way, rejection time is some of the different obstacles that people were saying that happen in their business. If you have, for example, you don't have time, your RAS will find ways to keep you busy. If you think that you cannot focus in your business, the same thing. Your RAS is going to find a lot of distractions. And this is, again, is to confirm what you are saying, because remember, what you focus on, imagine what happened. If you have fear, the RAS will find more ways for you to confirm more than fear, not only in the present, but also in the past and in the future. Now, if you think that you can't find business builders, then to confirm that, you will only talk about the products. You will be focusing only on product users. Even if you know that you have to talk about the business. In other words, the RAS is at work to find the evidence while you keep feeding that crock. And the crock, again, is the brain, the crocodile. Now, the secret to tame the crock and to use the RAS for your advantage is what my friend said, Bill Mayer, where your focus goes, your energy flows. It is really simple. But that's where the secret is. And now, guys, I know next week we are going to be talking about the second part. And the reason I don't want to put so much information on this webinar. That's why we are doing it in two parts. But next week we're going to cover how you can do focus and control more your fears. I will show you a formula that works when applied. Also, why affirmations alone don't work and what to do about it. And the reason is because affirmations, and I'm going to give you a little advance. Affirmations go against what we have already as a belief system. And the croc and the mice and the human brain start rebelling against it, and the rats start denying what we are affirming. That doesn't mean the affirmations don't work. It's just that it's really hard. You have to do it in a special way. How you can apply this knowledge to every area of your life, the knowledge that we are talking. How can you write your own script to success? Now, oops, sorry, I got it. Now, a good part of this cycle is here, again, with a quote by Bill Myers. That's why keep thinking about this. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. Below are some personal development books to assist you, by the way. We had The Charge. This is a brand new book by Brendon Burchard. I just got it in. If this book teaches you how to become a high-performing individual, it's based also in neuroscientific studies. You can get actually a free copy. I don't know if you still can get it. If you don't, well, at least you can buy it in Amazon and on the store. But if check on this website, burchardbook.com, burchardbook.com. Again, it's BURCHARD book.com for those of you that are on the telephone. And then you can click, go to that place, and then see if you can get a free copy. The only thing that you have to pay is the shipping and handling plus some free videos. This is a brand new book. And this other book is really new too. It's a powerful book. And also, this is the one that that talks a lot about how the crocodile brain and the other brains work in our business. And when I mean our business, when you are presenting to somebody, when you are talking to somebody, when you are negotiating. And the book is called Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. It's a great book. I saw a presentation with him about 3 weeks ago. It was a webinar with him, and it was so amazing that I got the book, and really it's amazing. The Charge is also an amazing book. And again, I found about that book because of webinar. I love webinars when they have to do with personal development. Okay, guys, this is everything for today.